Voilà. Bonjour. Welcome back. Today, two parts, obviously, like always, but the first part will be, we have Komlan Messie, who's coming from, I believe, Zambia. And he will be adding to the discovery that we've made. Remember, we had a first speaker that came from France, right? That explained to us how we integrated the circles in England, in the United States, in Australia, in Mexico. We had the video of a Chinese lady explain how she integrated the business surrounding here in Montreal with the ups and downs and everything else. It was a video, so you were less inclined to follow closely. But today we have a live speaker, Komlan Messie. Komlan is a longtime friend. We've met some 20 years ago. I remember the first time we had a discussion at the L'Hôtel Champlain, Château Champlain, when you were starting le REPAF, le regroupement des professionnels africains. And we were exiting a Forum Francophone des Affaires meeting, whatever the topic was. I don't remember the topic of that event, but I remember the creation of REPAF and your preoccupation of helping your fellow young professionals, African, integrate the business surrounding here. Komlan, if I remember well, is originating from Togo. Am I right? Yes. We have family ties together. We know their kids. They came to the countryside to spend some time with us. We evaluate over the years. Komlan is now back in Africa, and I asked him to come and talk to us. I gave him a short briefing yesterday, what I would like him to talk to you about, right? And that includes questions on your side. When he moved to Canada, how did it happen? How easy or hard was it? What kind of surprises did he get? How did it go around this? Remember, there was no course like this one. It did not exist, right? And how he started to build what is called the REPAF, le regroupement des professionnels africains, here to help his fellow young Africans, professional African, integrate the banking business, the construction business, the consulting business, the whatever business, and what kind of support they got at the beginning or not from the government in order to be able to do this. And now he went back to Africa. Now it must be some sort of the beginning, going back over there. You're a stranger in your own continent for a while, coming back from Africa with a plus value because you've been here for such a certain period. So I will give you the floor. I'll be right there around. And sometimes I will ask a question to make sure that we follow the right path. Komlan, this is my class of students. They have maybe 18 or 21 different origins. We've got people from Finland, from Spain, from France, from Taiwan, Martinique, whatever, all kinds of places. So it's for you.
That goes. Thank you. Thank you, Carl, for giving me this opportunity. My name is Komlan Messie, as Carl mentioned. Thank you for being here. I will start for presenting myself quickly. I'm an engineer. I completed my engineering degree in Senegal. I'm originally from Togo, so from École Polytechnique de Thiès, from Senegal, engineering in electrical engineering, actually. And then I moved to Montreal to complete my master's degree in computer science and operations research. I did that at École Polytechnique de Montréal. And then after that, before Montreal, actually, when I went to Montreal, I left approximately 30 degrees Celsius to meet minus 51 degrees, because I went to Montreal in January. That is the worst time to go to Montreal, and the temperature was not necessarily welcoming. And thanks God, I had some friends that welcomed me, and then the integration started. So after I finished École Polytechnique de Montréal, I was one of the best of the promotion at that moment, but I was surprised to not be finding job at that moment. So, and people, my colleagues that are original from some regions of Quebec or from Canada, they were finding job quickly, and some of them even found job before we finished the master's degree. And some of them are people that I helped doing their master's degree during some exercises and so and so. So I found that a little bit strange, and it was not only you have to be good at school, etc. But it was not only the school that will determine your what you can do after. So I started understanding the importance of networking. Because some of my former colleagues, they had their uncles or their friends that with whom they went to school together, or they went to Cégep or university together, a bachelor degree. So they had those connections that helped them to find job quickly. So after a while, I succeeded to have a job in Rivière-du-Loup. Rivière-du-Loup, I don't know if you know Rivière-du-Loup, it is like 5 or 6 hours from Montreal. And so I had to move to Rivière-du-Loup. I was the only Black person there in Rivière-du-Loup. Rivière-du-Loup is about 15,000, I think the population is about 15,000 people. So I was the only Black person there. So I had to be careful in social life and also professional life. And the challenge was very good, technically speaking, professionally speaking, it was very good. And after I finished my mandate there, my experience there showed me that I will have a kind of ceiling that might be blocking me in my progress because I want to manage, not only doing technical work. So I decided to do my MBA at HEC, HEC Montreal. So I went to HEC Montreal. So I had to move from Montreal from Rivière-du-Loup to Montreal. And at the same time, I was working in a company called the GNA Alutech, which is a manufacturing company of furnaces. We used to design and to sell aluminum industrial furnaces, big oven, to treat aluminum and non-ferrous material. To Alcan. At that moment, a company called Alcan. Today, I think the name is still Alcan. Alcan got bought by another company, Australian company, a while ago. But Alcan was one of our customers, SLC Lavalin, and so that gave me opportunity to travel to implement different projects in the US, in outside of North America, etc. I was completing my MBA at the same time. And during the MBA, I discovered the importance of network again. That validated my first assumption to be well connected, additional to the learning or the degree we may have. The MBA in HEC was 50% of what you learn and 50% of who you know, or which kind of relationship you build with your colleagues. So that was very, very interesting. I was very heavily involved in the Association des étudiants MBA, Association of MBA students of HEC. I was the treasurer. And it was really fun to be involved and to see how decisions are actually made in the board of director and everywhere so I learned a lot of the social practice, the board of director, and how decisions are also made before actually the section of board of director. So I had different friends from different regions of Quebec and also from Canada. And from that session, for example, or my involvement in the association, the MBA, the HEC, show me that before any board meeting, you have to prepare the meeting ahead of time, making some even decisions before, because you have to build some alliances to convince some colleagues to approve your propositions and everything before the actual meeting. So during the meeting, it's just formal things. You know, you go through the agenda. If there are some discussions, you do the discussion, but most of the decisions were made before the meeting. That was a good lesson for me. So after I finished my MBA, I found that I actually completed the project for the company where I was working, and it was fantastic to complete the expansion of the company abroad. So I developed a strategic plan for international activities of the company to optimize the technology usage of the company, because I combine engineering side, electrical engineering, computer science, and also management and strategic thinking. So that was very good. I got promoted as head of the department of the electrical department. And after a few years, I had to leave because after MBA degree, there is a life before MBA and a life after MBA. With MBA degree, the value, my value got not double, but multiplied by many coefficients. So that was fun. I got another promotion, another opportunity in another company called Tektronix, which is what the first or the second manufacturer of oscilloscopes in the world after Agilent. I was a director of NPI programs there for new product introduction. So that gave me many opportunities to travel around the world to sell our product, and also to give engineering advices to different customers. And during that period of time, I also developed my company of consulting, because I learned that, okay, it's good to work, but I have some expertise to sell to. And so my project management skills were refined. And so I was getting some contract in consultation contract, especially in project management, program management. I was involved heavily in PMI Montreal, Project Management Institute. I was vice president of activities, and we double the attendance, the budget, and everything within PMI Montreal. When I was promoted, I was elected vice president of the PMI Montreal for activities. I'm just giving those examples because the social involvement is a key element, a key success factor of economic integration. As far as my experience is concerned, that is a key part of it. And that integration, I learned many things that I could not have learned in university or anywhere else. For example, I didn't have money to play golf. Golf was very expensive for me at that moment, and I was involved in Association de MBA du Québec also, and during that involvement, I got free lesson of golf, and also somebody that was involved gave me a free equipment of golf. And golf is a good place for networking, and I started playing golf. And with the time, I was mixed with different key decision makers Sometimes you play with politicians and prime ministers and so and so. So that was a good lesson. And I was seeing other people or other colleagues or friends that was going through some difficulties in terms of finding job or finding opportunities. And I shared my experience with some people, and they said that, listen, can you help me to do this? So I was helping different people. And that encouraged me to say, listen, instead of doing it one by one, why not creating a network of African business network, actually, to be for professional and entrepreneurs. So that was the trigger of the creation of what called REPAF. REPAF is Réseau des entrepreneurs et professionnels africains. So that was created in 2005. And that réseau is still alive today, even though I'm not in Montreal. It's a network that is open to everybody that is interested by Africa, African people who are origin of African or doing business with Africa as well. And the main activity was to share experience, the difficulties, and also the success factors to have or to find opportunities, not only professional opportunities, but also entrepreneurship opportunities. So if you have things like that, you have a business, you need to find customers. And finding customers involved to be networked, to have the right people at the right place. So that business network has been pivotal in many decisions in Quebec, Quebec policy and also Canada policy. We had opportunity to go to the National Assembly of Quebec to present some propositions in regards to immigration, in regards to the promotion and sensitization of entrepreneurship, economic integration in the regions of Quebec. So I had that privilege to go to the National Assembly to present different propositions to ministers, to the politicians, to sensitize them on the difficulties that can be there for entrepreneurs. Whatever the color of the entrepreneur, there are some difficulties like access to funds and many things. So that was very interesting. I was involved in Réseau Regroupement des Chambres de Commerce du Québec. I was in the board of the regroupement, and at a certain time I was elected the best administrator or the board member of the year. I don't remember the year. And down the road, I forgot to tell you, I got different awards from Association de MBA du Québec, PMI Montréal, and the city of Montreal also, Le Mois de l'Histoire des Noirs, for recognizing my involvement, my social involvement in the promotion of inclusion, the working together, living together in our society. So that continued, the REPAF adventure continued, and I had also opportunity to create a company. Actually, I suspended the company when I came to Africa. The company is called Frunil. It's a company of manufacturing juice. It's a juice manufacturing company for ginger juice and hibiscus flower juice. Those who may know Africa, those juices are very well consumed in Africa, and I wanted to bring that good and nice experience into Canada. So we had different clients. The product were distributed in companies like Metro, IGA. You are in Montreal, so you know what is Metro, IGA, and other supermarkets in Montreal and in Quebec. So I had to suspend it a little because I could not. There were some challenges when I came to Africa. So that was the reason I was not in a position to continue that thing, but it will be restarted or continued very soon, because Africa has a lot of treasure to share, and I believe in food is a good integration factor. So tasting how or what people or other people eat is a good starting point to break any ceiling or anything that may be on our roads. So that's pretty much the experience of my integration, the integration in the social and economic integration. I think that economic integration is a key element, and being volunteering, doing volunteering work, a volunteering job in many brought me, at least as far as I'm concerned, that brought me a lot of opportunities. I had time to offer, I had time to give, and the return on investment is huge. I had opportunity to meet Jean Coutu, name Bombardier, all those families, people who we used to just see on the TV. I had the opportunity to meet them and to exchange with them, to people that actually created Cascade, all those big players, and those was a big source of inspiration for me, that you can do from starting small and become big. And I was very encouraged by different meetings that I had with those big players, and not forgetting that, first of all, the performance is a key. That is the first thing. We have to perform. And beside the performance, we have also to manage very well our business network. And the management of the business network is a key, is a kind of added value if we want to have success, or we want to do or to go to any level we want. So I don't know, Carl, if you want anything that needed to be shared.
Many things.
I will be more than happy to.
Many things. Thank you for the brief going around. Now we experiment here with this group of students, young students, in their first section of the university program, being the baccalaureate. Discovery that there are multicultural aspects in organization to consider. My only promises I made to them is that this course will help them to open their eyes, see the differences, and work with them to perform better their job as managers. All right.
Yeah.
There was a few speakers that came before you. One of them is one of their director at Essentiel, the lenses.
Yes.
And he came to visit us. He was here on a business trip working with one of the plant in Laval.
Okay.
But as a French person, when he finished school, he was sent on a training period in Holland, and then Germany, and then in England, and then he went to the States, and then he worked in Mexico, in Australia, and he came to work in Canada. And each of these places for him was a new discovery. Plus, he has his family coming with him. He met his girlfriend, became wife. They had kids in France, kids in the States, kids somewhere else, 3 of them. Now they're all over the world. And they create a certain balance in all of this, but not without surprise at all times. Working in New York, working in Florida, or working in California was a discovery each time for him. It was a new thing. For you, the question that I asked to start this, when you arrived in Montreal to go to the Polytechnique, and you arrived in January at -30, not only it was cold, but it was your first visit in Canada, was it?
Oh yeah, it was my first visit. It was the first time I actually touched snow. So for me, snow was. I used to make snow in a laboratory of chemistry laboratory when I was in engineering school. So it was very, very surprising for me.
Now,
The worst cold that I touched before I went to Montreal was in the fridge. You know, when you put your hand in the fridge, you feel some level of cold. So that was the the worst cold that I felt before.
now you're an African young man. You're from Togo. You studied in Senegal. Then you cross the ocean and you come to Montreal, which is French speaking, makes it easier. You enter into an engineering school, the Polytechnique. This is your first time here. It's cold outside. How is it with the other students? What's your first reaction being thrown in that new world?
The first reaction was that science is science everywhere. You know, I was in the Department of Operation Research and Computer Science, so we can speak the same language as far as the subject of the school was concerned. Now we had to have a certain level of comprehension on the reaction of others compared to our own reaction. You know, in many countries in Africa, one thing is that when you are talking to somebody, looking at eye-to-eye contact is not necessarily usual in our countries. And Montreal, I discovered that if you don't see, you don't watch the person eye to eye, it is like you are shy, or you are not responsible, or you are lying, or whatever. So the interpretation is different from a country to country. And I learned that in Montreal, that when you are talking to somebody, you have to see the person, you have to have the eye contact. That is one of the things that I learned when I was at Polytechnique. And one thing is that Polytechnique is a very, very multicultural environment too. So that made it a little bit easy to understand that, okay, the thing that people think in another place in the world can be different from my own perspective. So we used to have integration discussion among the students, and about, as I mentioned before, food is a good integration trigger. So we had intercultural weeks where we share food, we come to present some cultural references of our different origin. So that helped a lot, really a lot, to make friends. Usually I have no problem to make friends, to have new friends. So easy of contact to present yourself. And when I learned also, you have to avoid to be shy. So that means we need to get out of our comfort zone. That was a little bit difficult at the beginning, but when you see people doing it well, you learn and you adapt. That is one thing that I learned too. Interacting with people in the Polytechnique was, and also the teachers. You know, I was my director of thesis was very good. I had to. He used to explain to me some key things, the unwritten rules, some non-written rules of the life in Montreal, the life in Canada. I learned that too by discussing with them, and not only that, going to some some festivals, and that helped me a lot also to understand the society.
Unwritten rules, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, the unwritten rule, you know, the eye-to-eye contact that I just explained
Yes.
is one of them.
Your country of origin, eye-to-eye contact is to be avoided. It's a respect for the elders.
Yeah.
You don't look somebody in the eye because out of respect. Here you look at people in the eye because I'm talking to you and I'm communicating with my eyes with you. That's one thing. But some other example of something that came up.
Yeah, another example was, for example, when you shake hands, you need to shake hands, firmly with confidence. And in Montreal, I learned that that is easily interpreted if you don't shake hands very well. It is like you are. It's not. You have a lack of confidence. That was one of the things also I learned. Shaking hands is automatically. You can be categorized easily with some non-written things, non-written behavior that you didn't know before. And that is one of the examples. And one thing, if I remember, when drinking, when you go somewhere, sometimes you can, if you are invited, you need to bring something too. If you are invited in some friend's home, you have to bring a bottle of wine or something to just to confirm your appreciation, and that you also contribute. So that is a non-written rule, and you have to learn. And also, in when you this is a little bit I don't know. Let me just say it this way. When you invite a girlfriend, for example, in a restaurant, in my country, you pay for the girlfriend. But in Montreal, it can be somehow touchy, because it can be interpreted that the lady will say that you are undermining her capacity of paying herself her things. So those are cultural rules that you need to learn if you don't want to be somehow awkward in some situations. Can you hear me, please?
I'm taking notes on the board because I want to bring back a few things.
Oh.
It's interesting, the pay the bills kind of stuff, because yes, I go to many places in the world. If you invite somebody for dinner, you pay the bill, right? And here it be interpreted differently. You're absolutely right. Now, if I take a woman out for dinner and she wants to pay, I will say yes. I will not argue. I'll say it's your turn. It's good with me. And yes, it could be misinterpreted, like what I can pay my portion, I can pay my fare. Usually what I say is, this time I pay, next time you pay. So there will be a second date.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's true.
Yeah, next time we go to a more expensive restaurant, then she can pay. It's interesting also your discovery that when you're invited in a home here, you're expected to bring a bottle of wine or a little gift. We call it in French here a cadeau d'hôtesse. You bring something for the person that receives you, whether it's a bottle of wine or something that you prepared in a food, a pie, a pâté, or whatever. It's also important. But I have a very good friend of mine also who's a Tunisian. Tunisians, they do that. They never come to your house empty-handed. Every time my friend, he works now at the Islamic Development Bank in Jeddah. Every time he's in Montreal, he comes to see us, and he arrives with usually a cake and some other goodies and gift for Isabel and gifts for the kids, and no gift for me. Nothing for me. His best friend. Nothing for me, but everything for the family. He brings something for the family. It's a gesture, right? He doesn't have to do this, and he's not doing it because I'm French Canadian and I expect something from him. It's what they do in Tunisia, and when I'm in Tunis, I do the same thing. I never go some places without bringing something, and if I could, I will prepare it myself. So it's something better. It's interesting. Now, you mentioned that when you started the Polytechnique, you're all scientists, and they gave you an integration discussion. That's a nice touch, a nice way to do things. May I ask here, when you arrive at the university for this semester, most of you are foreign. Did you get any kind of integration session? How to behave with French Canadian? Did you get this? No. Nothing such. So, you know, it must have been a few surprises that you're still discovering. Now, don't you forget, when you're invited for dinner somewhere, bring something. Now you know.
Yeah.
You realize also, you mentioned it earlier, that networking is essential. You came here
Yes.
with no family ties, no family background that can help you, but you realize that being in university learning, you realize that your friends around you, the locals, had these family network that helps them get a job before the end of the semester, right? Which was different for you. You had to fight to get a job.
Yeah.
Plus, you are African here in Quebec, and you're trying to get a job, and we don't know Africans. We have no idea what you are, who you are, if you're competent or not, whether you're at the Polytechnique or not. We have our doubts because we don't know. We are afraid of what we don't know. How did you go around this? This is very important for us to understand.
Yeah, this was very, very difficult at the beginning. I had to be involved, you know, the involvement that I mentioned to some associations in order to see or to interact with the local people. I would say local people at that moment. When I say be involved, that means giving my time for free, and by doing that, you know, there are things like centraides or Croix Rouge. There are things like that. So I was involved in those things to see some non-written rules of presenting yourself at a job presentation or interview, for example. It by being involved in those kind of volunteering work helped me to see how the society works, how the society is built, and what are the things that need to be discovered. And so that the level of involvement is very important. And also I was in the area I was living. I was in Côte de Neige at the moment, and I had no money, and I saw that some people were giving money to some companies to come and to remove their snow. Me, I didn't know snow, but I know that there was a company just beside where I was living that was removing, renting the snow, un souffleur à neige, comment on dit ça? Snow
Snowblower.
It's a snowblower. So I went to see them, and the renting was $20 for 4 hours. And so I went to convince some of my neighbors, asking them if I can remove their snow for them, and I will charge them less price. And they accepted because I was a kind student at that moment. And so the first time I was able to remove snow for two houses, and I was charging $20 per shot, per removing. And they gave me $40, and I went back to the company to give them the $20 for the renting, and I gained $20 at that moment. And then the next time I did it again, I did 4 houses. So the revenue was increased, and I had to have a friend with me to help me. I was paying him $10 for the whole thing. So that also encouraged me for, you know, the entrepreneurship, checking the opportunity and seeing that there is a need to fulfill. And I had that also. I created that opportunity because I knew at that moment that people wanted to have their snow removed. I was the direct neighbor, and being a direct neighbor, so when there is a snow, they don't have to wait for the company to come from far to remove their snow. I'll right there, student, I have all my time just studying and removing snow. So I accumulated a few savings like that. And I continue during the summertime with the grass. I didn't know grass at that moment, as it had to be cut at certain level to be very, very nice. I learned that, and I accumulated many customers like that. So that was a kind of sideline. And by doing that, I had to interact with those families. They invited me into their family, even though I was just one of their suppliers. And I discovered barbecue during the summertime, and all those things were really a part of my integration. And one day, I was telling them, okay, I'm finishing my master's degree. I'm going to present. They came, they actually witnessed my presentation, which was very fantastic at that moment. And one offered me an internship in their company. So I went there. It was a software company. I tested things, and that gave me my first Canadian, one of my first Canadian experience. And that was very important because when you are a foreigner, they always ask you to have a first Canadian experience. That was one of the elements I want to bring up here, because that opportunity, if I was not connecting with those people, I won't be in a position, or I won't have that opportunity. So opportunities need to be created by interacting with different people, with different the people who are around, and you never know where the opportunity is. And just being a good person around yourself, that's good. And that's what I can share on that in that regards.
So instead of folding yourself like this, you open up, you gave some free time to the Red Cross, or you give some of your time to cut the grass or remove the snow. You met people, you enlarge your circle of knowledge, and you integrated this way. And you realize that model, because if you would be in Togo, it would be your family circle that you would live with, that would bring you to all these opportunities. But being here, you're an abandoned child in a foreign country where it's on top of it, it's minus 30 degrees in the winter, and it's difficult to integrate. But you found ways by doing this. And this brings me to one thing that I believe is one of the great things that I've seen you doing, is that you prepared young African professionals, people who studied here, they were looking for jobs, and you helped them find their way with the REPAF, and you created something similar. So just let's hear you about how you created that REPAF, and then I'll ask you a few questions, and I'll bring you how I sent many young people to the REPAF to follow exactly the path that you designed for them. Can we hear you?
Yeah, thank you very much. When I mentioned before that when I was working, some of my experiences I had to exchange with some peers at that moment, and telling them, okay, this is what I did, etc. And I was working at CGI, CGI en français. CGI is a huge technology company. So I was there as a program manager, and I found that there are many job opportunities that are being displayed on the board, in the hallways and everywhere on different floors at CGI. So I said, listen, in many companies, big companies like that, those job opportunities were not shared outside of the company. You have to be in the company to know that, okay, this department is looking for administrative officer, or for a developer, or a program officer, program manager, etc. So I said, listen, with apart from what I said before, I decided to create REPAF, African Business Network, to share those internal opportunities that are in many companies and that were not disclosed anywhere else. You won't see necessarily a job opportunity of Banque Nationale displayed in La Presse, or in El Journal de Montréal. You won't see that. You have to be connected with either headhunters or a friend that is working in that company that will say, okay, listen, there is an opportunity here in this department. I heard about that, if you can apply. So by creating Repath, we put together all the different opportunities in many companies like that, like IBM, CGI, SNC Lavalin, Banque de Montréal, Banque Nationale, Banque Royale, Desjardins, etc. So we put all those things together. Every friend that is working in, for example, Desjardins, we give them responsibility, every person, to go around and look for opportunities that are displayed in the kitchen, you know, the cafeteria of the company, and so to snap it and send us that, and we publish it in our own network, so people are exposed to those opportunities. And so Repath was there when we wanted to create Repath. My expectation was to have 15 persons at the beginning, and so for the launch of that, also surprised with the co-founders to have 70 people attending the launching meeting, which was completely beyond our expectation. So that showed that, first of all, there is a need, and that we did a good marketing position of the network to bring people understand the difficulty people can have if they don't find a job, and this opportunity we are bringing them. And then Desjardins and even CGI, I went to see them, to see their resource HR department, to tell them, listen, we have good professionals and good people that have good knowledge. They come from different universities in Montreal and the region. We will be more than happy to have you come to present to those people your key success factors. What will have you as an HR person to choose a candidate? So we started inviting those people, HR of Banque de Montréal, HR of SNC Lavalin. We covered them all. And it was a good opportunity for those HR people to see other people than their usual name. You know, they have to get used to other names, like Calmiville Deschênes is a common name in in Canada, but Komlan Messie is not a common name. And we have to sensitize them on the importance to not discriminate people based on the name. They have to be open to see that the competency is what they want. And so they have to think, to reprogram, to reformat their mindset, to let them know that they are missing big opportunities or big profile if they don't go beyond the name. And that was a good thing. And after that, they started giving us money to sponsor us to organize activities, which is really interesting, because they found that there is an added value for them. And additional to that, they also can go directly and they can come and pick a very good candidate to fulfill their requirements in their companies. And it was cheaper for them. It was less expensive for them to come to sponsor Repath than to go to a headhunter that will charge them $20,000. So the decision was quick to make, and Repath was very, very well positioned in terms of credibility too. We also used to coach people before you go to interview, how to present yourself, how to dress, how to speak, how to, all those non-written things were explained to the candidate, so they know that we are bringing them value, and all that. It's a voluntary involvement we're doing that for free. And the money that was given by the different sponsors were used to hire the rooms where we are doing presenting our conferences. We used to present our conferences in very nice and neat places, very professional, because we want to be professional from A to Z. That's very, very important in our positioning. And we also have a mentorship program. So we convince many mentors to come for free and do accompanyship to different candidates to help them in their thinking of working or looking for a job, or not only looking for a job, but for example, the middle management, somebody who wants to move from a middle management to higher management. There are some key skills to develop. And those skills, sometimes they are non-written skills. For example, when in a company, there is an opportunity to raise funds, to help Centraide, or to raise funds to do a golf tournament, you have to go if you want to develop your network. And so all those elements that were not written anywhere, we have to share that. And REPAF was a good platform to share those kind of experience, and we're happy to do so. The mentorship program is still there, and people are very happy to share their experience, to share the success factors and how to move forward. And for us, sky is not even the limit. You have to think big and act local if you want to go forward.
And if I may, by doing this, you certainly change the dynamics of HRs in the large organization, like the banks, the insurance companies, and everything else, that they could start considering hiring where they use not to, or to be by lack of knowledge, by lack of knowing about the competency, or by that lack of knowledge, lack of security, hiring people they don't know. So you change that dynamics, and it creates great results. I remember that many people who would come to see me and say, Mr. Carl, I just moved from Africa. You're a hard defensor for Africans here. Can you help me? And I would say, no, I cannot help you because this is not what I do. But if you go to REPAF, and if you go there giving your time, you know, pay the membership, which was $25 and still is $25. Adhering to REPAF and giving sometimes, like you did at the beginning, offering your free time in order to learn, to discover, and to create a network and integrate, and then be part of the program. When you're giving your time like this, people see you work, see you how you get involved, how serious and professional you can be, and then job offers comes and follows.
Yeah, and I remember one quote of Pierre Pelado, who is the founder of Journal de Montréal. He said one time that if he sees his employees, he wants to see them giving their time for free. Because when you see somebody being passionate about something that he's not paid for, just imagine the performance of that person when you give the person money or you pay the person a salary. So Pierre Pelado, he used to give, not Pierre Pelado, but Pierre Pelado, who is the father of the current Pierre Pelado. So he used to say that a volunteer is somebody who is passionate at the beginning. So he prefers giving a job to a volunteer. So if he adds money to the involvement of that person, you will multiply the passion of that person. So it's a fact that many employers or companies will look for your potential of giving back to the community, how you are involved in the community, how free you can give back. That is very important.
So if we take that one step further and we think for a hiring process later on your personal Facebook page, for example, if you show pictures of your university party with bottle of wine in the ads or something like this, instead of showing the fact that you're the president of your karate club and you give free time to an old age home in your city, it makes a difference, the perception that the employer may have, because nowadays they look at your profile on the social networks. Now that brings me to two more points I'd like to cover with you, Komlan. For a few years now, you came back to Africa with the knowledge that you gathered from here. We listened 2 weeks ago to the French gentleman, Alain from Messie, who got back to France and discovered that he was a stranger in his homeland. How did it go for you coming back to Africa after living here for so many years?
Okay, me, I was not necessarily a stranger in my own continent because I kept contact with the continent while I was in Montreal. But definitely many things changed. There is an adaptation to be done wherever we are. Is not only in a continent, but there are clearly there are many changes in the behavior of people, the perception of people too. And I didn't come to Africa to be the one who know everything. No, never. I came back to learn too, and to be humble and to see it, observe, see how things are going, in order to add my value to the lives of people. So that is the way I actually did it, and it went well because before I came here, I had to document myself with other people's experience to see how they manage their all these things, and to see what are the success factors. Again, need to get prepared, and the perception of people. And again, when I came here, I'm still involved in social activities to reconnect some network that I missed or that I forgot or whatever, and that accelerated the reintegration, because at the beginning, yes, you have to relearn and to see how the society works, and arrogance is not part of the vocabulary. We have to learn to be humble and see what we can bring to add value to people's lives. So that is very important.
Komlan, let's ask the class, who in this class went or lived in Africa? Well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4.5, 5, 6, or 7 out of 50. Something. Yes? Speak loud. Visit, live, spend some time, discover, go to the beach, have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, eat roast chicken, grilled fish, whatever kind of thing. Okay. So a bit more than 15%, something like this. Now, the others, who's from France? Okay, there's a lot of French. Who's from Spain? Over there, yes. We've got Martinique somewhere, don't we? We have Taiwan over there. Who else? Just tell me, where you from? Madagascar. Okay, so you have an African experience. Brazil. Finland. Slovakia. Slovenia. Okay, that gives us an idea. So now, when these young fellows are offered after their university program a career opportunity in Africa, let's say you are now in Abuja, Nigeria. This is where you're home based, right?
Yeah.
So how should they go about moving to Abuja and integrating and starting to work over there? What would be your recommendation to these foreigners?
Okay, a recommendation, there are some ingredients. First of all, that need to be prepared. You need to have a kind of data. You need to gather a lot of data from different sources on Africa or in the country of Africa, because let's not forget that Africa is not a country, is a continent of 54 countries. And even between the 54 countries, there's no uniformity. And in Western countries, generally, people say Africa, or I'm going to Africa, or Africa is this, Africa is this. It's a nonsense. And so we have to clearly unlearn that thing first, because Africa is a continent with 54 countries. And Africa is a huge continent, more than about 1 billion people. And a continent like Europe, Canada, and United States, and China, and India can be put in Africa in terms of surface. So Africa is a very big continent. Now, for a country, you need to go Google about the country, economically speaking, and social life there, and to see in your network. It's very good. Let me tell you that it's a real added value for you to be in a diversified class as the one you are today, because people your fellow colleagues today might be useful for you in 10 years. So if you want to invest in the management of your network, invest in those fellow you know today, because those can be very good rescue for you in 5, 10, 20 years. There are people I completed my MBA degree. I completed my MBA degree in 2000. And I am still in contact with them today. When I want to go to a country, when I know that one of them is there, I go, I take coffee with them, we chat, and there might be some opportunity. We update ourselves and so and so. So it is important to keep that relationship alive, not just wait for when you need the person to be asking for help. No, that won't be necessarily good. So, collecting information about the country is very important. And for Africa, especially, the life in Africa is different from what you hear from the media, especially in Quebec or in Canada. Media are not necessarily talking about Africa, and they will talk about Africa when they see that there is a tragedy somewhere. So that's all. But Africa is not only the present, but it's the future of our worldwide economy. Africa has 30% of the natural resources of the world, and all the different continents want to come there to do business. And so we have to unlearn some prejudices, some filters that we have from many Western. When I say Western, that means there are some media that don't necessarily give the right information on many countries or what is going on in Africa. So having real people, your network that know those countries, is a very huge asset for you. So keep those relationships and expand that. Come to REPAF if you want to learn about Africa. You will have a professional, a highly qualified professional, and also entrepreneurs that will give you other perspectives about Africa, about different countries in Africa. You have the Anglophone countries, Francophone countries, Portuguese-speaking countries. The things are very, very different. Country like Nigeria, for example, is the first economy in Africa, and Nigeria is 200 million people. The population of Nigeria is that. And in other countries like Mali, the population 20 million people, and only Mali all the Europe, the continent of Europe can be fitted in Mali's surface. So just to give you some perspective, and one thing you need to know also is that the map, the map you see today, when you Google, you see the map of the world. That map is a kind of this. It doesn't give you the reality. If I will give, maybe I will send you something. You will see that if they have to represent the continent at the right scale, Africa will be bigger than what is shown today in on our usual maps. Those maps we see today definitely came from a colonial period. They wanted to show that Africa is zero while they were exploiting the continent at that moment. So we need just to be mindful of those kind of information and be open to diversity, open to business, open also to a really balanced life, because the level of stress in Canada is higher than the level of stress in Africa. Maybe Carl Wildeshen can tell you, you can work very hard and you can take advantage or take profit of what you're working for, because you can finish working and go and eat some grilled chicken and fries and so and so. So the life is very good, and I love Canada. I love Africa. So I go regularly to see a family in Canada. So you know, everywhere you are, just make the best out of it, and that's what I can say.
Merci, Komlan. Any question, remarks from the smiling and full of energy audience? That's you. Anything you want to say to Komlan? Thank you.
Yeah, merci. No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Un gros merci de ton temps, Komlan, de t'être rendu disponible pour nous. J'ai grandement apprécié. J'ai enregistré tout ça. Je vais t'envoyer la bande un peu plus tard, que ça peut servir.
OK. Et puis, je dois aussi, je vais dire une dernière phrase. I want to thank Carl for his support when we created Repath, because creating a network like that, which is today a reference network in Quebec and Canada, is not easy. You need to get advice from people, experienced people like Carl. And Carl is one of our first members of Repath. Carl is a member of Repath, and that was key. In you know, we were young and, you know, full of dynamism. We wanted to change the world, and we actually did. And thanks to advices from people like Carl, and we really appreciate your support and everything that you did, referring Repath to different people to Repath and so and so. So thank you very much for that.
Merci. Merci beaucoup. Bonne fin de journée.
Merci beaucoup. Allez, bye bye.
Et on se voit du 25 à Abuja, 25 avril.
OK, thank you. Merci. Bye bye. Je t'attends. Allez, bye.